Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Sir Cowdog, and this is the episode of the Scholar of the First Sin No Death Run, covering the Black Gulch. Last episode I did the gutter, and I showed how to light all of the torches and get all of the items and fight the gutter denizen NPC. And now I'm going to go ahead and clear the Black Gulch and fight the final boss of the giant pit below Majula, and that is the Rotten. He's going to be the second of the great boss souls that I need to get to the castle. But before I do that, time to use up a bunch of these. I'm going to upgrade my Estus flask, both the number of charges and how much each charge heals. And while I'm here, I'm also going to upgrade this armor. Although I think calling it armor is a bit of a stretch, considering it is just a dress. Reinforced armor. There we go. Now, keep in mind it takes Twinkling Titanite. So, Twinkling Titanite is fairly rare and valuable. Fortunately, I'm not using it for anything else, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that in 3 times. But as you can see, the armor values across the board are now very respectable, especially the elemental resists, which become more and more important the further into the game you get. I'm also going to drop a Titanite chunk on my battle axe, making it even more dangerous, and spend some extra stuff here on the short bow, just because I can.
I'll be around if you make it back.
I think that's going to do it for now. Grab some levels.
Is that a shard you found? Here, let me see it. To see light, to see hope, however faint it might be.
That should bring me up to 7 charges. Level up. More hit points, more strength, more adaptability. Mostly more hit points. Alright. Burn this sublime bone dust. Back to the Black Gulch. Okay, so the Black Gulch is full of a just ridiculous number of poison spitting statues, and the way that I do this is a slow and methodical method of clearing out each individual statue. And the way I do that is I equip this here spear in my offhand, even though I don't have the correct dexterity to use it. And the reason I do it this way is because breaking all these statues takes a lot of durability off your weapons. And so using a complete throwaway weapon like this spear makes it a lot easier. And the spears also have enough reach to generally get all of the statues before they can shoot and poison you. The other way to do it is, of course, just to sprint past everything and go straight to the boss. And that is a completely viable tactic, but it does take some practice to get right without being hit and poisoned a lot. So I'm going to stick to this one. Now it can be a little bit irritating sometimes because the spear will clip on the walls. But overall, it's much safer in my opinion. Okay, so just like in the gutter, these black pools contain some of these weird hand monsters. You can see them kind of peeking out there. Lure him out. Should only take 2 hits to kill. The good part about those guys is that They're worth a decent amount of souls, but they also occasionally drop both Titanite chunks, if you're lucky, or more commonly just large Titanite shards. But alright. Oop, missed one. So far so good. So the Black Gulch also has a number of secrets. I'll go ahead and spawn these guys. Got blasted in the face by poison. There we go. So, looking out over the edge here, you might think, oh, this is bottomless pit. There's actually a couple of small cliffs that you can land on. I don't know if you can see the shadow of it right down there. And there's another one further up, but this is the one I want right here. And you know where to jump off because it's right past these 3 statues. And I'm going to just walk straight off. Careful not to sprint. And that takes you here into this little passageway where our friend Lucatiel is hanging out.
Still on the road, are you? Sorry to have burdened you so. This is for you.
And she's got a very, very nice ring. The combination between the Black Witch dress for elemental defense and the physical protection from the Ring of Steel protection. Let's see if I can bring it up here. So, almost 70 points of physical defense. When I go to fight the boss, that is definitely going to give me an edge in protection. It's very, very nice to have. So, also, this passage lets me get up here and take care of these annoying poison spitting things that I wouldn't otherwise be able to reach. Then we got these guys, giant, not exactly sandworms, but giant burrowing somethings. I don't know what to call them, honestly. Alright, taking out all of these so that I can safely grab the treasure. If you're having trouble with this zone, you can summon forget what the guy's name is. But there's also another NPC here as well. Just don't get hit by that. It can potentially knock you all the way off the cliff. There we go. And in just a little bit past these areas, there's going to be an NPC invader. A forest child something. I don't remember. Roland? Forest child. I don't know. We'll see in just a second here. But continue to take out the poisoning. Woodland child, not forest child. So I'm going to put my spear away and get my shield back out, although I won't really need to use the shield against this guy. It's actually better to two-hand your weapon. And you want to actually retreat up to here where there's enough room to fight, because he is a little bit tough. He can take a lot of damage and hits pretty hard. Let's go Woodland Child Gully, take your swing. Usually you want to bait him into swinging first. Move in and then 2 or 3 hits in, reset. Yep. Nope. Basically it's a game of patience with this guy. It's pretty annoying. Here we go. One more hit should do it. if you rest at the bonfire, his buddy Woodland Child something else, basically his twin brother, will also show up. It's not a constantly respawning enemy, it's just two guys that look the same. Alright, where'd that spear go? There we go. Okay, a couple more items to clear. Run past this, otherwise that one will hit you while you're looting the chest. And by the way, you don't want to be close by these weird hand worm monsters when they come out of the pools, because they do a grab attack, which does a fair amount of damage. Not a lot, but enough to be annoying. So just be aware of that. If you see one of them pop out, then run away. Couple more of these. Oops, missed that one. The ones that are lying on the ground can be a little annoying to hit with the spear, so just use your axe or whatever weapon you have chosen to use that has a downward strike. And if you don't have a weapon with downward strike, I don't know what to tell you. You chose a bad weapon. Well, at least a bad weapon for breaking statues. Almost done here. One more. Okay. Make sure there's no more dudes. Okay, so the level has two more secrets. One is right here. Normally I would not use a fragrant branch of yore here. I would save it for later, but I do want to show you all of the secrets this game has for the sake of completion. Back in here is a bonfire that is much, much closer to the boss, and a third summon sign if you really want, and this is Lucadil. Now, I don't use her for this fight. I don't think she really adds a whole lot to the value of the fight because it's not very tough. I saved Lucadil's third fight for what's his name? The Smelter Demon. But this bonfire can prove to be very useful for you. If you don't want to go back and clear all of that stuff I just cleared again, you can just drop out right here next to the boss. But before I do that... Oh, he tagged me. This little trick is something I learned that's very useful about any area really, but mostly just for this area. Once you've broken everything, it will stay broken as long as you don't rest at a different bonfire or travel to a different bonfire. You can actually sit down at the one you started at, and while the enemies will respawn, all of the stuff you've broken will not. So, as you can see, I don't have to do that again. I can just run down here. Dealing, of course, with these guys. Also, don't need the spear anymore. Switch up to my Watch Dragon Parma. If I'm lucky, one of these guys will give me a Titanite chunk. Look like so far. Done. This guy. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to fight the second invader since I rested. he should be showing up in just a second. Yep, Woodland Child Victor, who is left-handed instead of right-handed. He has his weapon and his shield in opposite hands. Same tactic as before. I'm going to lure him up here where it's nice and open and safe to fight. Hopefully I don't take too many hits from him. That should have hit, but oh well. Oops. These guys have a lot of poise, by the way, so you need to be able to hit them square to stagger. There we go. And for some reason I've never been able to determine, as you can see my axe is almost half broken. If you swing at an NPC invader and get close but actually miss, your weapon takes massive damage. I don't know why. I think it's just a bug with Dark Souls. Scholar of the First Sin on PC maybe, but if you console guys have the same problem, let me know in the comments. I would really like to know. Okay, one last run through here. Actually go fight the boss. Oh, I hit that guy in the back swing, see that? I didn't know that the Battle Axe could do that. Picked up a Titanite chunk, that's nice. One more of those I can upgrade again. Okay, so the Rotten is a fairly easy boss, although he does hit reasonably hard. As far as I know, he's not weak to any particular element, so I don't think it matters too much which one of these you use. Dark, I would suspect, does not work very well, so I'm going to stick with the magic damage. The boss does only 3 or 4 different attacks. He does a powerful downward chop with a cleaver, which is fairly easy just to roll side to side to avoid. He does a sideways chop, which again, just roll. He will do occasionally a grab attack, which can be annoying to dodge. And the most dangerous thing he does is a power-up AoE dark damage. I will actually probably just be blocking that instead of trying to roll or run away from it. Now, this is all complicated by the fact that the boss fights in a room full of fire, so you really have to be careful to not roll into the fire, because you will take a lot of damage from it. So here we go. Go ahead and power up the weapon. Enter the boss fight. No spoilers. Now, there is a thing you can do where you can actually chop his arms off if you hit them enough times in the same place. I generally try to avoid that, just because it's a little bit more work than it's worth. Oh, there's that grab attack. Oh. Took a little fire damage, but not too bad. Nope. The puke attack is not very common, but alright. did get one of his arms. Nice. Unfortunately, it was not his cleaver arm, but that's okay. And there's that power of attack. You just block it. You will take a little bit of damage, but not enough to really be dangerous as long as you block. And one more hit should do it. So pretty easy, all things considered. Dropped a Ferrous Lockstone from his arm. How bizarre. Okay, right across this fire is a, I want to say a pyromancy seed. Just go and sprint. Yep. Heal up. And jump back across. Okay, and right past here, a little bit hidden by the smoke, is the boss loot. Petrified something. And I just realized I completely forgot to equip the steel protection ring for that fight. That's kind of how many times I've done this. If you're doing it for the first time or struggling, don't forget to do that, like I did. This little kind of shrine altar thing, this is access to one of the DLCs. I don't have the key for it just yet, so there's no point in me going through it. Those will be covered in their own videos after I've completely cleared everything else. Now, as you can see, I lit the primal fire, but I did not rest at it. That's because I have a couple of secrets left to get still. I'm going to run back through the boss room. Hopefully not getting attacked by any more of those weird hand monsters. I think I got them all. Perfect. So, right in between, you've got these two holes in the wall here where the giant worms would come out of. That's how you know you're in the right space. You want to position yourself right between both of them and then walk over to the cliff here, and you can see the shadow of a ledge down there. This is where you want to go. And it might look like, hey, there's a door here, I can't open it, it's locked. And you might think you're stuck, but a little bit of careful observation, you'll notice another ledge. One sprint. Land safely. You may just want to walk, so it's not quite as scary. And then once again, drop down right here. And it's like, oh, it's so dark, I can't see anything. Now, in this room ahead, there are several giants, or golems, I think they are. You can see them. They do hit very hard, so you might have to dodge roll, but you want to sprint past them to this room with this chest. Grab the Ring of Giants and the Dragon Bone. And what you want to do is get out your bow, and you'll notice I have 32 poison arrows, and this is how you defeat giants. 1, 2... he's running away from me because he doesn't want to get poisoned. 3, 4, and you'll notice he'll start to tick away with poison. You can pepper him with regular arrows if you want, but mainly you should also be trying to get the other guy. 1, 2, 3, oops. Try not to get hit. They do hit really hard. Okay, we got the other guy poisoned too. Now, one stack of poison is not going to kill him. You're going to have to repeat. 2, 3, 4. That should bring him pretty much close to dying. You can wait. 2, 3, 4. Re-poison him. You can wait until the one dies to do this if you're going to be patient, but there we go. 4,800 souls. Oops, this guy's poison ran out too. There we go. Some people use this area to farm. You can do that, I guess, if you want. using bonfire ascetics or just resetting back to the bonfire. But when you've killed both the giants, you get the Forgotten Key and the Soul of a Giant. Now, that Soul of a Giant is very, very important for later in the game. Do not sell it, do not consume it, don't get rid of it. You'll be kicking yourself later on if you do, so just keep that in mind. The key of the Forgotten is going to be used to open, number one, that locked door that I already passed, and a couple of other places. So we need to get back up to the surface, and you do that by walking on these super jank narrow walkways. Just aim into the wall. It's the safest way to do it. Step into the elevator. And it drops me right out here. And I have one last thing to get. Once again, in between the two holes in the wall. Slowly drop down to the ledge and open the door. This is the area where you can join the Covenant of the Pilgrims of the Dark, I believe they're called. But you need to run into this old man in this wheelchair 3 times. This is only the first time we've seen him, so you can't join yet. He says a bunch of stuff about the Pilgrims of the Dark, blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. May the dark light your way. So, just remember that this spot is here. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But, with all of that out of the way, that is everything in the Black Gulch. So, I'm going to go ahead, Homeward Bone. Rest at the bonfire. Return to Majula. Emerald Firekeeper looks bored, but hey, we've got a second boss soul for you.
The soul and the curse are one and the same. Your soul has grown stronger still.
Yes, I am very cool. Okay, more hit points, more endurance, vitality, strength, dexterity. Well, I actually don't need any dexterity. Adaptability. I eventually want to get my agility up over to 100. I think 103 is the next break point, but for now, strength and hit points and equip load, all of those are good things. Alright, so that's the Black Gulch video, guys. The next video is not going to actually be a specific zone to progress the story. I'm going to clean up some secrets and places that I've kind of left behind and open. That's going to be me using the Key of the Forgotten that I just picked up. So that'll be a little bit of an intermission from the normal story progression. So I will see you guys in the next video, and as always, peace.